everyone, thanks for watching. I'm Louise from The Dusty Jacket. These 5 books spotlight the challenges and obstacles faced by neurodivergent individuals, but mostly they celebrate their uniqueness and victories. Perhaps just as important are the parents, siblings, teachers, and friends who stand by them, support them, and champion their cause each and every day. So without further delay, let's dive into these 5 books with neurodiverse characters. Let's get started. Our first book is Slug Days by Sarah Leach, which I rated 5 out of 5 stars and has a recommended reading age of 7 to 9. Lauren has 2 kinds of days, slug days and butterfly days. Slug days are the worst and spent trying not to flip out, figuring out how other people are feeling, and so many other things that make Lauren feel slow and slimy.
Worst day ever.
But butterfly days are the best. The days she's able to control her temper, friends want to play with her, and she gets ice cream with her mom. You might think it's easy to avoid slug days and only have butterfly days. But when you have autism spectrum disorder, sometimes the choice is not up to you. Leach has over 20 years experience in education and has taught and worked closely with ASD students. Her knowledge of coping mechanisms and behavioral characteristics is evident in this thoughtful and touching story about a girl struggling to fit in and be understood. It's a quick read filled with beautiful illustrations by Rebecca Bender that give life to Lauren and her world filled with uncertainty and unpredictability. Leach's story also demonstrates the importance of a strong support system, one that ensures Lauren has the resources she needs at school and at home to thrive.
Yeah, it takes a village.
This book is targeted for readers ages 7 to 9, but slightly younger readers can also enjoy and benefit from the story. Slug Days is told from Lauren's point of view and gives readers a peek into one of her weeks at home and school. This is a great book for helping kids identify with and relate to behaviors they may have in common with Lauren, and can also serve as a tool to introduce some important discussion points about how certain behaviors can be misinterpreted and what can be done differently. With the wonderful storyline and beautiful illustrations, this book is an important first step in promoting understanding, acceptance, and inclusion, which is sure to turn any slug day into a butterfly day. Book 2 is A Boy Called Bat by Elena K. Arnold, which I rated 5 out of 5 stars and has a recommended reading age of 7 to 10. Bixby Alexander Tam, nicknamed Bat, has a long list of things he doesn't like. People rumpling his hair, food smashed together, loud sounds, and waiting. But one thing that he does like is the orphan newborn skunk that his veterinarian mother brings home one day. Although it's hard for Bat to connect with people, he forms an instant bond with the kit, and with help from his 3rd grade teacher, he forms a plan to make the baby skunk a permanent member of the Tam family.
Don't worry, I have a plan.
A Boy Called Bat is the first in a series of 3 books in the Bat trilogy. Written with candor and warmth, Arnold gives young readers a story of a boy on the autism spectrum, and she succeeds in capturing the nuances associated with autism, such as dealing with the subtleties of sarcasm or taking idioms literally. Spoken language, along with unspoken facial cues and body gestures, are just everyday landmines that Bat has to constantly tiptoe around.
One wrong step and we're done for.
Although I'm a sucker when it comes to brother and sister relationships that are all cuddles and kisses and unicorn wishes, I did appreciate Arnold portraying Bat's sister Janie realistically. She often loses her temper with Bat. She knows exactly what buttons to push when she wants a reaction out of him, and yes, she thinks he's weird. But Janie's human, and you really can't fault her for wanting a predictable trip out or just one boring dinner with no drama. She's every sibling out there who assumes the dual roles of defender and detractor, and being both is rewarding and exhausting. For every Bat, there's 1 or 2 Janies, and we all must remember that they deserve attention, patience, and understanding as well. Book number 3 is A Corner of the Universe by Anne M. Martin, which I rated 5 out of 5 stars and has a recommended reading age of 10 to 12. Hattie Owen lives in the 3rd largest house in the small town of Millerton. Her grandparents live in the 2nd largest, but unlike her Nana and Papa's house, Hattie's house isn't filled with fancy furniture. It's filled with boarders. Hattie doesn't mind living with people who aren't her family, but she does mind living with secrets.
I don't like secrets.
One big secret is that she has another uncle who, until recently, has been attending a school for the mentally disabled, but will be moving in with her grandparents. Even though Hattie's Uncle Adam is family, she realizes that she knows more about her parents' boarders than her own flesh and blood. But all of that is about to change. Based on events in her own life, Martin explores mental illness and the effects it has on both the individual and those around them. 20-year-old Adam Mercer, displaying symptoms of autism and schizophrenia, is seen as quirky, unpredictable, and largely high-spirited by his 12-year-old niece. However, as is the case with diseases of the brain, it only takes a minor deviation from a structured routine or an ill-delivered rejection to set off a downward spiral of uncontrollable outbursts and dangerous reactions.
That is a fine line we're trying to walk.
Through Hattie's lens, Adam is a person being denied fun and freedom by her controlling grandmother. Through Nana's eyes, Adam is a child requiring constant supervision and well-defined boundaries. In reality, Adam is a little bit of both. A Corner of the Universe is recommended for grades 5 to 8, and I certainly would not recommend this book to any reader younger than this. With topics of mental illness and suicide, as well as a few sexually implicit situations and some mild profanity, this is clearly meant for young adult readers. Although the themes of acceptance, tolerance, inclusion, and kindness transcend all age groups. Martin gives us a perfect look into an imperfect world and shows us two people who found an unexpected friend in one another, and for a brief moment were able to turn their corner of the universe into a very accepting, forgiving, and happy place. Our fourth book is The Boy with the Butterfly Mind by Victoria Williamson, which I rated 5 out of 5 stars and has a recommended reading age of 11 to 13. Ellen has never been in trouble for anything in her whole life. She is smart, respectful, and helpful, a perfect princess determined to get her divorced parents back together. Then there's Jamie, who seems to be a trouble magnet. He has ADHD and is easily distracted, forgetful, and messy. His parents are also divorced, and Jamie blames himself, as he often does, for most things that go wrong. When these two very different people and their worlds collide, order and chaos not only meet, but they end up living together in a house that seems to grow smaller by the minute.
Things are about to get very ugly.
The Boy with the Butterfly Mind is told from the alternating viewpoints of Ellen and Jamie, both 11. Although you understand the eternal and emotional struggles of both characters, it is far easier to be sympathetic towards Jamie, who is completely aware of his challenges and limitations and also absorbs an unfair amount of guilt and blame while still maintaining a trusting and forgiving attitude. Williamson's real-world experience in working with special needs children is evident in her writing, as we see Jamie detail his struggles and feelings and describe his mother, who is completely overwhelmed and emotionally drowning. These occurrences are uncomfortably accurate and make this book all the more poignant.
There's so much more to unpack here.
By focusing on Jamie, I don't mean to downplay Ellen and her feelings, as she is also struggling with her own demons. To win her father back, she puts undue pressure on herself, and the introduction of an imperfect and unwanted addition to her family just adds to her burden. Fortunately, Jamie finds a friend who makes him realize that you don't have to be perfect in order to be the perfect friend. I think the world would be a much better place with more people like that in it, and I'm glad that Ellen eventually realizes this too. Our last book is for adults, entitled Memoirs of an Imaginary Friend by Matthew Dix, which I rated 5 out of 5 stars. Max Delaney is 8 years old, in the 3rd grade, and likes rules. In fact, he likes lots and lots of rules, like bedtime is at 8:30 p.m. and only wearing 7 pieces of clothing at one time, not counting shoes. This is Max's world, and nobody knows this world better than Budo, Max's imaginary and best friend. Budo talks to him and plays with him, and as long as Max thinks he's real, Budo won't disappear, and not disappearing is very important. But when Max doesn't come home from school one day, Budo is forced to decide between Max's freedom and his own possible extinction.
How could I possibly choose?
Memoirs of an Imaginary Friend is narrated by Budo, who invites us to share his life with an extraordinary little boy with autism. Dick's description of Max and his habits, daily activities, and mannerisms are meticulously detailed and accurate. Those familiar with autism know all too well the helplessness that Max's parents experience on a daily basis, and their never-ending quest for normalcy only adds to their compounded stress, while their desire to connect with their child is heartbreaking in its futility. Dix just doesn't deliver an accurate portrayal of a child who, as Budo says, doesn't live on the outside. Max is all inside, but he also gives us a book of devotion and friendship. Budo often said that Max was the bravest little boy in the world. Max is not like any other person in the whole world. Kids make fun of him because he is different. But you have to be the bravest person in the world to go out every day, being yourself, when no one likes who you are. This novel is suspenseful, emotional, insightful, compelling, humorous, and simply unforgettable. And Max and Budo are sure to stay in your heart and mind long after the last page has been read. I know they've stayed in mine.
This might be the best book I've ever read.
Well, that's it. I'll include a link to our Goodreads page in the comments section should you wish to read the full review of any of these books. And if you enjoyed this video, please click on the like and subscribe button and make sure to click on the bell so that you're notified when new videos become available. Again, thanks for watching, and I look forward to bringing back some old titles so that you can make new memories, because any time is a good time to dust off a new favorite. Keep reading!